was trinkt ihr? Wenn jeder jetzt was trinken tut, dann wird das lustig hier. Wir trinken Bier, das hält uns fit. Und wenn der Morgen streiken tut, dann trinken wir Aquafit.
Starodumsky here, and today I've got a beer that probably came out about, I'm thinking maybe a year ago. It might have been last summer, so maybe not quite a year. But it's a Sam Adams beer, and I just realized that with all the written reviews that I've done over the years with Sam Adams beers, I don't think I've done a video review yet of a Sam Adams brew, and I think I should, because I'm really a big fan of Boston beer and Sam Adams. Some people tend to look down on Boston beer. I don't understand why that is. I think they brew some really good beers. I think they brew some world-class beers, to be quite honest. Sam Adams Boston Lager among them. I think that's their flagship beer, and really a classic hoppy Pilsner, which is what I've always thought of it as, and actually Michael Jackson once called it such. Anyway, I think they're a great gateway beer for many budding beer enthusiasts, folks that may be a little bit new to the craft brew scene, even some folks that are have been drinking craft beer for a while can usually find a style that they haven't tried yet in the Sam Adams lineup. It's one thing that Boston beer really deserves kudos for, is the number of styles that they do and that they distribute so widely across the country. You can go just about anywhere and depend upon the fact that you can probably find a Sam Adams beer. That speaks volumes to the improvement in the craft beer or really good beer situation in the last, I don't know, 30 years or so. Some of you were around in the 80s when craft beer first started to hit the market, and you might remember in those days how hard sometimes it was to find a good beer. Thankfully, that's no longer the case, and those of you that didn't endure through those times, you're pretty lucky today to have as many beers available as you do. So anyway, the beer that I'm actually going to be talking about today is Sam Adams Wee Heavy, and this is part of their Imperial series of beers. They do an Imperial Stout, they do a bigger, bolder version of their Double Bock, and an Imperial White among those brews. Wee Heavy is a Scotch ale. It's a beer that is usually not as strong as this one. This is 10% alcohol by volume, so that's a pretty big example of a Wee Heavy. Boston Beer says of theirs on the label, it was inspired by the traditional Scotch ales, has a deep, intense flavor from its dark roasted malts. The addition of peat smoked malt adds a unique flavor of the Highlands to this complex brew. Enjoy. So Sam Adams has done a Scotch ale in the past that is distinct from this beer, and obviously had a lot less alcohol. I think that one probably was only about 6%, maybe between 6 and 7%. That one was a favorite of mine back in the 90s. They discontinued it for a while. Every now and then you'll see Sam Adams Scotch ale, but I haven't seen it for a time. So I think, of course, we'll give you a closer look here, the label. And I think not sure well, actually, I am sure what type of glass, what better glass. I have a lot of Sam Adams glasses, and I've got the Sam Adams perfect beer glass, as they call it. I've got some Sam Adams pint glasses and some mugs and things like that. But really, I think the perfect beer for the glass for this is a Scotch ale glass. So the thistle-shaped Scotch ale glass. This one is Gordon's Scotch ale, and I think I'm going to use that for this beer. And let me grab an opener here. Pop it open. This actually comes in 4-packs. I think it's about $9.99 for a 4-pack. maybe $8.99. Let's just see the pour going on there. We've got a nice big creamy tan head formation on that. We've got a pretty dark, almost jet black color to the beer. We've got a sticky sweet brown sugar malt nose. And then taking a sip, was more of that brown sugar. There's some chocolate. I want to say maybe a very light hint of roasty coffee in there. But there's a lot of fruit to this beer too. Big notes of raisin, prune, and a marked sweetness in the finish. There's a little caramel in there. Those dark fruity esters are really coming out big time in this beer. And they really add a lot to it. I bought a 4-pack of this. This one's probably about 3 months old, and I think this is the last bottle from that lot. But this is definitely at 10%, and with all these dark malts going on, this is a beer that probably could hang around for a while without too much ill effect. You get the brown sugar really comes through again in the finish too. I let this bottle warm up a little before I popped it for this particular review, but I think that's allowing those flavors to come out all the more. Not a lot of there. I want to say there's like a very gentle grassy hop aroma and light bitterness in the finish. But there's a warming alcohol burn, and that's helping to dry it out too. Still, overall, it's just a tad sweet in the finish. So this is a very good, actually. I think Sam Adams has done a good job on it. I think you get the one element that I'm leaving out, that I've left out heretofore, is the peat smoke. And there's just a gentle touch of it in the palate. I don't really get it in the aroma. You can tell it's there from the peat smoke malt, but it doesn't overpower really. I think the other characteristics of the beer are actually pushing that a little bit to the back of the beer and what you get. But if you look for it, you'll get it there. It's not as apparent. I think the classic Sam Adams Scotch Ale, I think that peat smokiness came out a little bit more because it was not as big a beer as this one is. Quite frankly, the sheer magnitude of a beer of this caliber, a subtle flavor like that is not going to come out quite so much, but you do get a little bit of it. And again, overall, this is a really good beer. I think it's worth. You pay $10 for 4 bottles. It's not too bad. $2.50 a bottle for a beer this quality. So I think you should pick it up. You should give it a try. Sam Adams beers are, in my opinion, they're always well made, and they're always well worth your money. They're a good value too. So try it. If you like it, drop me an email, brewguru@brewguru.com. Let me know what you think about it, and cheers.